All right, it's great. So great to have you all joining us today. Let me see here. We've got, gosh, besides me, about 34 of you. So today we're going to start with a healing, a Reiki healing, a group Reiki healing. And then after that, I'm going to pass a Reiki attunement. Now, some of you are Reiki practitioners already. Some of you could be Reiki masters, and that's fine. You can never get enough Reiki attunements. It's just another healing as far as I'm concerned, the way I look at it. So, and Alan's saying, and this will be different because he's going to be also passing the attunement from his end. So you're going to get two people working on you, one physical, not one non-physical. So please let me know how that goes for you afterwards, if you feel like commenting in the chat room or anywhere. Okay, and note that every time you watch this, if you watch the replay later, you would get an attunement again. So he's saying this is the gift that keeps on giving, the attunement that keeps on attuning. So enjoy it. And I don't think any of us would say that we could, can't use enough healing, right? I think we all agree, like, yes, please, like every day, or maybe twice a day or something. Like I could use healing, absolutely. So, and if you don't want it, by all means, it's not going to be given to you. You can reject it, it'll just bounce off of you. Okay, so after the healing and after the attunement, we're going to open this up to questions. And I'd like you to, I'd say the best way to do this is to post your questions in the chat. Now, if you really want to come on camera, you're welcome to do that too. If in that case, just hit the raise your hand button. Like you can see that under reactions on the toolbar in the bottom. Just click reactions and you'll see the raise hand icon. So we're just going to use that if you want to ask your question on camera. But this way, if you want to be anonymous, you can just put it in the chat and I'll get to as many questions as you can. And if there's not a lot of questions, well, this is a subject that I can talk on and on and on, probably for the day and bore everybody to tears. But I don't want to do that. So I'd rather field your questions. And as I said in my email to those of you who are on our email list, my psychic superpower is claircognizance, in that when a question's asked, I get the answer. Spirit gives me the answer. I can't promise you it's 100% always accurate. That's just not possible with anything to do with psychic information, because we're human in a body. So, we can't expect that 100% accuracy, but pretty high is 85% and up is pretty high. So we'll just see how that goes. All I know is this has happened to me for 35 years now. That's just how I was trained as a conscious channel. So I noticed that I would start teaching people and they'd ask me questions and I would get the answer and I'd say, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to write that down. And my guide said, well, you ask the question, the universe gives you the answer. That's true for everybody. This is not an unusual thing. Some of you have the same thing happening and you just may not be completely aware of it. So start paying attention to when you get those answers to the questions that people ask or that you ask yourself. Just get yourself relaxed. I still see people still coming in, so I'm going to give it a few more minutes. I don't want to start with the healing, although it really won't matter, but I'd rather get everybody settled. Be sure that you're comfortable wherever you are. And if it's possible that you're not going to be disturbed. Wow, we've got about almost 40 of you. I think I had 50 people registered. So to have this amount of you turn out, that's pretty cool. So thanks for joining me. So yeah, so get relaxed. Take a deep breath in. And on the exhale, tell your body to relax. You might not think it's as simple as that, but it actually is. Another breath in, and allow yourself to relax even deeper. And know that with every breath you take, continue to become more and more relaxed. I'm just going to be quiet for a few moments just to let the energy start to run. And just so that you can start paying attention to where in your body you might be holding tension or stress or discomfort. And wherever that is, I want you to simply breathe in the intention of relaxing. Breathe in and breathe out. Allow your body to relax. Feel or imagine that stress just melting away. This is easy. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a few moments. Relax, relax. Give yourself permission to go as deep into a state of relaxation as you can. Let this be easy. Let this be joyous. Great. Take another deep breath in. If there's any other place in your body that is still tense, we're going to really let that go now. Okay. Wonderful. You're doing great. Now see, feel, or imagine a beautiful, radiant heart. This is bigger than your physical heart. I see this heart as pretty much filling your entire chest, like from your neck down to your pelvis or abdomen. This big heart, see the color of that heart. Know that this represents your heart, your soul, your consciousness. Does that heart look 3D? It's okay if it doesn't. What shape or color? Because it might not look quite like a perfect heart. Whatever you see is perfect for you. And if you're having trouble seeing, don't worry about it. Just feel into this heart that represents you, represents your soul, your being, your higher self. And now we're going to pass the Reiki healing to you right now. So you might see this heart beginning to change shape or color. It might grow bigger, it might grow smaller. It might move. We're just running the Reiki energy through this heart space that we're all now sharing. And letting the energy, this beautiful, exquisite Reiki energy, to go where it needs to go. Because this energy is self-intelligent. It knows exactly what we need and where it is needed. So let the energy just flow. Just be open to receiving. I'm just going to let you bask in this energy for a few moments. Now we're going to adjust the Reiki energy, raise it a little bit in intensity, just a little bit. Not too much, just right. So it can go a little deeper. So you might feel the energy a little more intensely, or it might feel the same. It doesn't matter, whatever you feel is perfect. I know some of you are seeing colors. A few of you are seeing shapes. Some of you might be hearing something or getting a message. Some of you might feel like nothing's happening. And actually, in those moments when it appears as if nothing's happening, that can be the most powerful experience of all. So just surrender into it, relax into it. Know that you are loved, that you are safe, that you're protected. All of your spirit team of guides and angels and higher beings who are guiding and helping you are with you. Only what is for your highest good is allowed to happen in this healing. Now take a deep breath in and see if you can relax even more using the power of your intention. How relaxed can you be? And as the Reiki energy is flowing stronger, if there's something that you would really like to release and let go of, whatever that pattern, fear, issue, limiting belief, whatever it is that you know or believe no longer serves you, just let that go now. You might feel as if something just lifts away or dissolves. You might just feel lighter. You might not be sure anything is happening. But again, no matter what you experience, something's always happening. So just relax into it. And now, if there's something that you feel you need, right, ask that of your team, your spirit team. And if you're not even sure what you need, which is actually a very powerful place to be, you can ask them, please give me what I need. Because they know probably better than you what you really need. So you can simply ask in your mind, please give me what I need today. And just let that flow. Let that come in. Take that into your heart. So as the healing portion of this session is winding down, I want you to stay in this relaxed state. Okay. And if anyone has joined this meeting recently, just now, just relax. Because we're soon going to be passing an attunement. Again, whether you are already attuned to Reiki or not, you're going to receive this attunement. Basically, it's going to allow you to simply run the Reiki energy through your hands. Reiki level 1 is all about hands-on healing. So this means that you'll be able to place your hands on your body, anywhere on your body that needs healing. And by simply saying Reiki on, which is what I do, their energy will switch on. There's nothing else you need to do. Reiki, again, is self-intelligent. It is actually guided and protected and watched over, if you will, by the Reiki guides who govern all of Reiki. So any Reiki master knows that they're not really the source. They're not really the ones doing the healing. They're not the ones even passing the attunement. It's actually the Reiki guides. They work through us. So it is that Alan and I are going to pass this attunement to you, but really we're just the conduit. And it's really the Reiki guides that are going to be giving the Reiki to you. What we do is we're actually transmitting all of the Reiki symbols into your consciousness. Not all Reiki masters do this, by the way. They have their own ways, but this is what I was guided to do. So you're getting all of the Reiki energy. Traditionally, in Reiki 1, they're giving you a portion of the energy. And I never understood that. I thought, what does that mean? Kind of like, how do I give just part of God or source energy? Like, okay, I'll just give 33 1/3% of it for Reiki 1. And my guide said, no, you give them all of it. So that even if the person never goes on to study Reiki 2 or goes to become a Reiki master, that they have all the energy and they can use it. That was just what I was told to do. So that's what we're giving to you. Does that mean you're automatically a Reiki master? Alan says, technically, that is what it means, but your human self is probably not going to give you permission to do that. But as far as your soul, your spiritual, your true self, that part of you, oh, Alan says that part of you knows that you've always been a Reiki master. So that part of you has no trouble with it. Okay, now, so as you're still relaxed, we're going to pass the Reiki attunement. And this we're transmitting through your crown chakra at the top of your head. So first, okay, it's going to go through your crown and go into your whole body. But we're also passing it through the palms of your hand. So what I'd like you to do is wherever you're lying, sitting, whatever, is put your hands palms up in your lap or on your side, wherever it is. And we're downloading the energy and the symbols into your hands and through the top of your head simultaneously. You might feel tingling, you might feel heat, you might feel cold. Again, you might feel nothing. Just let the energy flow. And just notice whatever you notice. Experience whatever is happening. It's impossible for nothing to be happening. So it's a question of accepting whatever your experience is and knowing that it's perfect. Now we're calling in your Reiki guides, because now you're going to have your own Reiki guides if you don't have them already. And we're having them, what I'm being shown is we're having them seal the Reiki energy into your being, into your aura, into your body, into your consciousness, to really, I'm hearing, marinate you in the Reiki field, okay? So that you become part of the energy, the consciousness that is Reiki. And if any of you are already Reiki healers, I'm being told this is just going to upgrade you. Not that we're doing it, because we're not really, we're just the vessels. We're holding the space for you. It's your team. Or you could say it's God, or again, the Reiki guys, they're doing it because you're ready for it. And if you're new to this, then yes, it's the first time for you. So let the energy in. Just, what they're showing me is like you're soaking it in like a sponge. Just relax. Now take a breath in and hold the intention to really ground this into your experience, into your reality. Okay, beautiful. Now this time we're going to take a deep breath in. And I want you to begin to bring yourself back to waking consciousness. I know it's tempting to just stay in this state. I kind of want to stay in this state myself, but you're going to bring yourself back gently but completely. You might want to rub your hands together, the palms of your hands together, so that you get fully back in your body and ground yourself. And we're going to help you ground. See roots on the bottoms of your feet going down into the earth, grounding you to the center of the earth. Okay. Everybody back. Some people are not quite back. All right, come on back, everybody. It was very interesting doing this because just before we started, my nose got really congested. I thought, what is going on? And I heard, you're releasing for everybody. So now we're going to move to the Q&A portion. But before I do, I want to talk a little bit because we do have some new people on the call that just joined our group or just joined our email list or what have you, or both. And so I want to explain really quickly. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Alan has been working with me from the other side, really from the day after he crossed over, which at this time was August 7th, 2020, when he came back. So that's when he came back to me, was the day after he passed, which was August 6th. So he's getting stronger. If you're in our group, you notice that I posted that he bought me a piece of jewelry. It was so wild. I really did not put that in my shopping cart. Okay, I went back and I said, I don't get it. Like, I didn't do this. I do have an account on Etsy, like probably a lot of you do, but I didn't put that in my shopping cart. I was considering it, and then it showed up and I got noticed I'd bought it. So apparently they can do those things through the veil, okay? And that's what our work is about, is helping people make contact through the veil. He told me that that was what our work was going to be. Like the day after he crossed over, he told me that. And I said, well, I don't know how to do that. He goes, well, that's why we're going to learn. We're learning this. There is no playbook for this. There's no manual for this. There are other people who have done it. We're not the only ones. There are people, okay? I've found them. However, and when I say that, I mean people who've written books, okay? But to my knowledge, they're not really leaving a really substantial trail of breadcrumbs, if you will. They're not really kind of showing how to do this, or really, or he's saying to me, they haven't really shared their whole story either, like what they went through. And many of the ones that I have read, their stories, it appears to me that they had a perfect relationship, really. I mean, like, picture perfect relationship, right? And Alice said, there's nothing to learn from that. I mean, good for them that they had this amazing relationship, but that's not, that doesn't help anybody. Would that help you if I told you oh yeah, Alan came back to me and everything was easy and smooth, and and he's the perfect husband and I'm the perfect wife or whatever. You just roll your eyes and yawn and say, I can't learn anything from that. Yeah, I don't even happy for you, but how does that help me? So that's why he told me we had to have our problems. This were actually by design. Like we knew we were going to be incarnating at this time of the ascension, and that we knew that we would be eventually doing this work. I didn't know when he was in a body. I mean, he only told me this when he crossed over. And I said, really? Like this, like we set it up this way? Like, okay. And he said, yes, because that's what souls do. They plan what they're going to do in their life, and they don't always hit the mark with it. They don't always make it, but they make a plan. They have a plan, and so they try to aim for the goal. He's really happy because he says we are going to hit our goal, because this is not the first time or first lifetime where we tried exactly what we're doing now. Yeah, he says reaching through the veil, helping the veil either thin or break down completely. Okay, so because of that, of this mission we're on now, that's why we came into this life, and we're working as spiritual, I would say, counselors, psychics, mediums, channels, the whole thing, healers, since the mid 80s, me more like 1987. So it's been now going on for me 35 years. And I wasn't sure really what I was even doing in that 35 years, because I really didn't like to do readings, but I knew I was a healer, and I knew I was a teacher. I am a teacher, because people were coming to me asking me to teach them. From literally 2 months after I opened up, I had people literally saying, I'm getting that you're my teacher. And I said, what do I know? Well, they'd ask me questions and I'd give them the answer from the other side, is what it was. So that's really, really a condensed version of our story. It's not been an easy journey reconnecting with Alan, because we had issues. We had a lot of issues. And he says that most people have issues. I think we'd all agree on that. Very few people have a picture perfect storybook relationship, fairy tale relationship that would mean when their loved one crossed over, that it's so easy to pick up on them because they don't have any resentment to clear, any forgiveness to do. They're good to go. That is, of course, not happening. I would say good 90% of the population in that position of losing a loved one have got some cleanup to do on both sides of the veil. Alan says, absolutely. On their side of the veil, they have a lot of remorse and regret, so much remorse for what they did. And even though they know that once all their loved ones cross over, all will be made right at that time, they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait, because they see us still holding that grief, that resentment, that our own remorse, and maybe what we did or what they did to us. We're angry about it, still holding resentment. Of course, we miss them as well, so we're really conflicted. Like, I'm really mad at you, but I'm really miss you too. Like, so that's what I went through. I was really grief stricken, but after he came back and gave me all this love, that love started to bring to the surface all this resentment. Yeah, but what about this that you did to me, and that you did to me, and this? That all had to be healed so that I could really connect with the real Alan, my real husband, because that person who did what he did was his ego, was his human self, which isn't really his true self. So this journey that I'm on, and that you're on if you're in a similar situation, attempting to reach through the veil to connect with your loved one, is very difficult. I cannot, sugarcoat it. It's difficult. At the same time, I assure you, it's the most extraordinary journey. It is the most incredible journey that any of us could be on. And so I want to encourage you to start to see it that way, even though it's really difficult. Because what they're offering us is their unconditional love and their support in helping us really grow and evolve and become more fulfilled, become who we really are while we're still here in a body. Because when you cross over, you do become who you really are. That's what happened to them. But they want us to have that now, so that we can right now, where we're still here in the physical world, enjoy the best of both worlds. Because here's the thing that I don't think many of us fully appreciate or understand. Because Alan told me this like pretty early on when he came back. He said, being in a body and being conscious, spiritually conscious and aware, just like they are right now over there, having that awareness that they have now while we're still in a body, he says that is having it all. Because they do wish that they had a body right now if they were over there. That's why they all line up to come back. Yes, I'd like to have another body. Like they're like lined up for the biggest, grandest ride at Disneyland or something. You know, they're waiting to come back because there's nothing, he said, more thrilling than coming into a body or going to some other dimension for that matter, and having this experience of reaching for an expanded consciousness, being a spiritually aware person, yet having a body at the same time. Because he wishes so many times that he could have a body while he's having this total awareness and knows his power and his worth and his value and loves himself completely and loves everyone in the universe completely and is fearless. Imagine having that while you're still in a body. That's what we all signed up for. That's what is possible to have during this time of the ascension. Okay, is it easy? No, it's not easy, but it is possible. And that's what we signed up for. That's what we wanted to achieve. That was the goal, came here. And we knew that even if we missed the mark, that even if we came a bit close to it, that our life could still be amazing, right? Just reaching for that it could be amazing. So there was always something to gain from it, even if we didn't achieve our goal. So I just hope you kind of see that or understand it or appreciate that, because I didn't quite get that right away. I kept saying, what? Like, you mean I'm in a better position than you? And he says, yeah, in a lot of ways. If you just, he says, and you will, Pam, you will fully open up all of your gifts. Not that they're not open, but I'm talking about fully, right? Like fully open your clairvoyance, because I am clairvoyant already, but fully meaning like I just see more of everything I can see. Because clairvoyance, like any of our psychic gifts, we're talking about degrees. So right now he's saying he's giving me 65%, which is strong. Okay, but he says, I'm here to have 100%. And all of you can have the same thing, but you got to accept where you're at now, that you are seeing clairvoyantly. He says you all are seeing clairvoyantly. You're just not at 100%. You could be at 20%. You could be at 75%. You could be at 15%, whatever. But it can grow stronger, but you got to accept that you're already clairvoyant and how it is that you're already seeing, because a lot of you are seeing in your mind's eye, and that is clairvoyance. Okay, we're not going to go on to that. I just wanted to say, this is what they're on the other side. They're experiencing regret and remorse. They want to make things right with us. If we have resentment, we've got to bring that to the surface, or it impedes the connection. It kind of distorts the communication. And I found the more I released it, and it took time, it's like just layers and layers of it, as it kept peeling off and I kept releasing it, it's like, oh, I can hear you better. Oh, I can hear you better. Okay, another level of improvement. It's like that. So it's not like the connection is either on or off. You can have the connection and it be a bit weak or faint, and it can get stronger and stronger and clearer and clearer, and everything will deepen. Okay, it just takes time. So you have to be patient. So that said, now I'm hearing from Alan. All right, we want to take questions. Otherwise, he says that I'll just like talk on and on, or he'll talk on and on through me. So I want to see if you guys have any questions. I have not even looking at the chat, but if you do, you can either put them in the chat room. I don't see anybody in the chat right now. I don't know what's going on, but or you can raise your hand. If you're finding that you can't type in the chat, raise your hand and we'll take your question that way. There must be, okay. Marie is asking, are the ascension shift energies affecting communication with the other side? And if so, in what way? Yes, they are. And if anything, it's actually making it easier to communicate with the other side. What I've noticed in various groups that I'm in, some of them are grief groups, some of them are, let's say, proof of life groups, right? Near-death groups, I'll run the gamut. What I'm seeing, especially in the grief groups, is that people are having the after-death visitations left and right, and very strong ones. Things like seeing their loved one, that's not that unusual, because they have this leftover earth energy when they've just newly crossed over, that makes it easy for them to show up, to manifest things, because it is just residual energy. It becomes harder once they cross over. Then they have to practice that because they don't have that anymore. But the after death experiences, especially immediate, that seems to be, I just see it ramping up. And Alan says that it has ramped up. But also not only just the after death, the immediate after death, but also even months after, that seems to be increasing too. So I hope that answers your question. Now, Cindy asked, how do I get over the guilt of not being there in the room when both of my parents passed? If you mean like literally not at their side, first you have to understand that usually, no, and not, Alan's saying not usually, all the time, they are in control of when they pass. That's why you've probably heard people tell stories of how their loved one held on and held on and held on and held on, and they thought, why are they holding on? And then maybe when the person that they were waiting to see shows up, now they let go. Okay, a lot of times they actually don't want their loved ones to be in the room when they cross over. So if that happens to anybody, I think you need to understand that your loved one chose that way to go. They chose to leave when people were not there, or that you were not there. So really, we shouldn't have any guilt about that. It's really their choice of how they're going to transition. Alan left on his birthday. He could have left earlier in the day on his birthday, but no, he left later, because that morning he showed up at my friend Swati's house and said, hi, I'm leaving. And she said he had this big old smile on his face, and she was shocked, because not that she could see him, because she could see him, that was easy, but that he was leaving, because she knew I was going to be devastated. So she was worried that it already happened, but when she checked, it hadn't. I was still posting on Facebook like nothing had happened. So she knew he was leaving, but that was early in the morning her time. She's on the West Coast, so 3 hours ahead of me. So she knew it was going to be that day. It ended up being that night at around 8 o'clock my time here in Hawaii, and he chose that time so that he would actually be able to get the hospice to come and declare him dead during that on that date, because if he had passed later, it would have been into the next day. So he said he waited to the last possible moment. He knew how long it would take them to come and pronounce him dead. I have a hard time saying dead. I'm sorry. I just, because there's no such thing as death. So I go to pass him as crossed over, deceased, whatever. He knew that. So he waited around 8 o'clock. They came at around 9:30, I think. No, wait, he's telling me it was more like 10:30, and pronounced him as having passed at 10:30. See, it would have taken, if he had passed at 9, it might have missed it completely. So he knew what he was doing. They always know what they're doing, is what he's saying. And probably a good portion of people do pass when no one's around. And I don't quite understand why that is. I know I've read that before, and he's telling me that that is often the case. Okay, hope that answers. So please don't feel guilty. Please let that go. And you can always talk to them just because they were there. I mean, Alan passed, my parents passed, both of them, I took care of them in hospice. I wasn't there at their side when any of them passed, you know, and Alan said he didn't want me to be there at that moment. I was in the kitchen, you know, he could have called out to me, but he said he didn't. So that was his choice. All right, and a question comes in, are they trying to communicate a message or just letting you know they're there when they show up in your dream without any facial expressions? First of all, it's with dreams, it can be hard to tell whether, you know, you are having that dream. Like, in other words, you've created the dream on your end, which we can still do, by the way, or is that really a visitation? Okay, so I can't answer you that at all. Like, I'd say, you know, all bets, I'm hearing from Alan, all bets are off. You don't know what that is, but you know, if you've had one dream, you'll have another dream. So don't think that, well, that's, if they really want to get a message through to you, especially because we know you, Anessa, that you're psychic enough to hear the other side, believe me, they'll get the message through to you. So just ask them to tell you. Okay, so whether they have facial expressions or not, you know, it's hard to tell you. So Naz is asking, I'm wondering what our family members on the other side do. I was told recently my sister is a light worker and that she's been working on clearing my ancestral line on the other side while I do it here on Earth. She also said not everyone in my ancestral line wants the lineage to be healed. So I'm wondering what's going on with our ancestral lineage on the other side, and is our entire lineage still there on the other side, even if it's generations ago? Okay, Alan's talking to me. He says this is a really complex subject, okay, because now you're talking about lineage. Yes, that exists, right? Your ancestral lineage, whatever the lineage might be. In his case, he was Irish. We think that his father might have been Jewish, but you know, he changed his name. So I think it's really likely his father was Jewish because he just looks Jewish. The photos I've seen of him, and Alan's saying he was Jewish, but they changed his name. So we're talking about, let's say, that lineage. You have to understand, first of all, that you're multidimensional. So the idea that you have just this one ancestral lineage, they're all laughing over there. Like, you have many lineages. You belong to have many ancestors. Okay, your mind cannot even hold the concept that you're multidimensional and there are, I don't know, 100,000 of you. I mean, I'm just exaggerating a bit, but not quite. So what does that mean? He's saying it just means in this reality we're talking about of that particular ancestral lineage, that is what's playing out. That some of your ancestors are not ready to be healed for whatever reason. Maybe they're having some experience based on that. They want to come back, incarnate, and continue that experience. He's saying, but that doesn't mean that you, just talking about you or any other person in your lineage, can't write a different story. Because when it comes down to it, you know, you have free will to do whatever you want to do. So he says, don't get so hung up on that whole thing. But it gets really complicated. And there's a lot that the other side cannot explain to us because we just can't hold the concepts that they would have to share. Like Alan said, I remember he said to Swati, and then he and I talked about this after he said it. He said to Swati, there are things that limit the full interaction between their side and this side. Full interaction, okay? Doesn't mean we can't have interaction, because we are having it, and we're going to have more of it. but there's certain things that are limiting it, and he cannot explain that, what that is, to us. He couldn't explain it to Swati, told her that. He said he couldn't explain it to me, that I just have to accept it, that they're just things that we can't know all of it. I don't know whether it is because we can't hold the concepts in our mind, because it's so multi-dimensional, that how do you see both sides of the same coin? How do you see all the multi-dimensional realities that you exist in? Of course you can't see it. You would go insane if you started to see it. You would literally go insane. You'd start seeing all these realities, like seeing a million TV screens in your mind that is of you in all these different realities, and you would literally go insane. And he says that some people have gone insane by seeing too much. So you're not shown that, not able to see that for a good reason. You're here to have this experience in this reality. And yes, at the same time, you're multidimensional, so you're having other experiences in other parallel realities. And a good thing you can't remember or know all of it, or you would probably go crazy and have a very hard time being in this reality. This is the reality right now that we're in, that we're talking to you in, that is important for now, okay? But you're having other experiences. Those experiences do bleed through on some level into this reality. He's saying to me, when it's appropriate, when it's connected or tied into what you're experiencing here, only those are going to kind of overflow into this reality. Sometimes too much does come in to some people, and their spirit team has to work hard to, he's telling me, to defrag it like a computer. Like we have to defrag it. We have to do an antivirus thing on the computer to get that person back in a balanced state. So sometimes we can do ourselves a disservice by trying to know too much about realms that we're not prepared to fully understand, let alone experience what we're experiencing there. So there's a reason why we have to kind of have filters on. This is for our protection. It's not a bad thing, but some of that, for some of you, is falling away. But we suggest that you let your spirit team of guides and angels do that for you, that you don't push on the envelope, that you don't try to make it happen by force. Let it be easy and gentle. That's the best way, so that you don't get distorted, so you don't go off the rails and feel like you can't function, okay? Because that's not necessary, and that's not going to help you. So I hope that answered your question, Sarnas. But yeah, what you're saying about you and your sister, the work you're doing, you're absolutely doing that. And don't worry about the ancestors who don't want to be healed. Okay, now Alan's saying to me, if it was required that all of our ancestors had to be in agreement about a healing that would impact all of them, nobody would ever get healed. So luckily, that doesn't have to happen. Okay, what you're doing is just helping the souls in your ancestral lineage to heal who are ready to heal. Because the fact that somebody is still, quote, sick, right? We have to get over the idea that that's a problem. Why do we think that's a problem? There may be a very good reason why that soul has chosen to have cancer in this life. There's something they're learning from it that's very beautiful, that's very important. Or why that person came in and they have a severe disability. Some of those people are advanced souls that came and said, I want a tougher assignment. I want to reach for something that's a bit harder to achieve. And so they're sick or have that disability. Nothing has really gone wrong, people. The person who thinks something's gone wrong is your ego self that thinks that this is all there is, and that this needs to be addressed, that needs to be taken care of. This is a big problem. I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to heal cancer, that we shouldn't try to help people that are struggling, that have any sort of issue. I'm not saying that. That should happen, must happen, and you've got to see it from the perspective of your soul, the God part of you that says, but it's all perfect. This is why it's really hard, as you can see, to be in a physical body, have your human self, and yet your higher self, which they have over the other side, can lead the way and say, yeah, but all the atrocities you see happening in the Ukraine are serving a higher purpose, no matter how horrible it appears to you. There is a higher purpose going on always in everything. This world is temporal. It's an illusion. It doesn't mean that it's not, that you shouldn't value it, that you shouldn't hold it sacred, that you shouldn't help each other. Doesn't mean that the wrongs that people do are okay. No, you have to be able to hold two positions, that this world needs help and healing, and we need to do our best to fix things, and it's also perfect. You see how hard that is? Can you see the problem and yet see that it's perfect at the same time? And only do what you're guided to do instead of coming out of reaction, out of fear, and saying, well, I got to do this, I got to fix this. No, you got to stop, go into that state of communion with your higher self, your soul, and say, what, if anything, is there for me to do? There might not be anything in this moment. There may be something to do in the next moment. Okay, so our loved ones on the other side, going back to them, because I'm saying that's what we're here for all of it, really, we're here for all of it. They want to help us through this. Some of them left this world to help us from the other side through these challenging times. And now I'm being told to really emphasize that to all of you. Some souls chose to exit, let's say, through COVID, through dying of COVID, because they knew that they could help their families from the other side through what I'm going to call, because there's no other way to name it, the hard times. We are in the hard times. Doesn't mean it has to be the worst of times. It just means that these are hard times, challenging times. But they can also be amazing times, most beautiful, transformative, extraordinary times. But there are hard times. They chose to be over there because they knew they could help us. So how do we access their help? By learning how to reach through the veil. And there are many ways to do that. Okay, and we're going to talk about that next week, Sunday, when I have Dr. Jane Bissler on as my guest, talking about loving heart connections, who I just recently was trained in and have started doing sessions with people. And because it allows for direct after death communication and contact. I actually asked Jane if I could use that phrase, direct after death communication. And she goes, yeah, okay, yeah, that feels right. That's good. I'll give you, I have to ask her permission because I respect her and I don't want to step out of line. I cannot ever call it induced after death communication, because that term has been trademarked by Dr. Alan Botkin, who is the founder and the creator of the modality induced after death communication. And a book is written of that same name, induced after death communication. So I cannot call it that, but I can call it direct after death communication. Okay, and kind of the same thing, but I can't use the trademarked phrase, or I guess I'd get sued. So that's how we reach the veil, and that's how the more people who do that, who reach through the veil and contribute to taking down the veil. Now, the veil's not going to come down for everybody on the planet because they're creating their own experience. So some people are going to be completely closed to this, but yet the funny thing is, this is really interesting to me. The people who don't believe in this are still having experiences. That I find completely hilarious. Some of the people who completely do not believe in psychic phenomenon or the other side are beginning to have experiences, and they don't know what to make of it. Okay, so is the veil coming down for everybody? No, but it's coming down even for some people who don't even believe that they can connect to the other side. Those people are going to need a lot of help. Really, can you imagine? You're walking around seeing ghosts and thinking, I don't believe in that, I don't believe in that, but I see them everywhere. Okay, Alan, he is laughing right now. He goes, Pam, that's happening more and more, because Some people are just naturally sensitive, but their belief system is blocking it, right? But what's happening is other people around them who are open to it, like you and me, most of us on this call, they're different. Their energy is open, you know, we affect them. It's like a virus, in this case, a very positive spiritual virus that is spreading. As okay, he says COVID is nothing on this virus, okay? It's spreading. So people are like being sensitive, they're sensing things, feeling things. That's how we change the world, guys. Okay, through opening up ourselves, reaching through the veil, developing ourselves, and we affect other people. Alan said we infect other people, spiritually infect other people. And so it's an amazing time to be alive and witness that, be part of it. So can you imagine if you deliberately focus on reaching through the veil and you deliberately allow them to connect with you and go through your own changes, because this requires us to go through a change. We have to clear our resentments that I talked about. You have to believe that this is even possible. That's really important. Nothing's going to happen unless you believe it first. And you also, what is he saying to me? And you have to open up emotionally. You're going to hear me talk about that a lot if you follow me or you're in my group or you take a study with me or my client. And one of the things he told me when he came back was the first thing he said, I have to open up emotionally because you're dead inside, like most people. He says 95% of the people on the planet are walking dead emotionally. They're shut down and repressed. He's laughing. He's saying everyone except the Italians. I don't know. He's just teasing. He goes, that's why he loved Italy. he loved Italy. He said he'd want to go to Italy if he was here. He'd want to take me there. He said, because on the other side, they're extremely emotional. They cry and they laugh and they're serious and they're all over the map. Okay. And they would be so thrilled if we would be comfortable with all of our emotions. We're not talking about being out of control emotionally. We're talking about feeling comfortable to feeling whatever you feel and feeling deeply. He's saying if he was here now, fully opened as he is now, that every sunset he would ever see, he would cry because they're all beautiful. And we do not appreciate the beauty here at all. Most of us. 98% of us, we go, oh, that's nice. Or let me take my picture for my selfie of this me in the sunset. But we're not really feeling the beauty and the majesty around us. They feel all of that. And so that's what they would want for us, is to feel your feelings and look at the beauty around you and really relish it, you know, dive into those experiences. So if you want to connect through the veil, you got to get emotional. You have to not be afraid of feeling whatever you're feeling. And in the beginning, if you've lost a loved one, that means you're going to cry a lot. I'm sorry, but there's no other way through it. There's no other way through it but through it, right? To just go into the sadness. And Alan would make me cry. I mean, not make me cry. He just encouraged me to just cry. Just cry. You got to get it out. You got to get it out. The more you cry, there's an opening for me to come in with the love. But if you're just holding the grief, if you hold in the grief and you go, I don't want to cry, I don't want to cry, I can't love you. I can't get through the grief. So if you're having trouble connecting, there may be grief or there may be other unexpressed emotion that you're holding in that you're not able to let go of. And that is what's blocking you. Like I was working with a medium the other day who she sees spirit. She could see her deceased mother on the other side, but she has so much repressed emotion, conflicting emotion about her mother, love and anger and all this stuff, that she can't get her mother to come to her. And I said, because your mother knows that you don't want to become an emotional basket case in your words. You're afraid of being emotional. She goes, oh yeah, I can't get emotional. I've got to raise my kids and I'm a single mom and I got to hold it together. I have a lot on my plate. And I said, well, until you become emotional, you're not going to be able to connect with her, because she knows that if she comes through now, you're going to break down. And she doesn't want that to happen. She she's worried that you're going to. So I told her that Alan was going to help work with her to prepare to connect with her mom, that she had to start becoming more emotional. So she's going to have a session with me to connect with her mother, one of the loving heart connection sessions. She says, oh yeah, that's what I need. I need to connect with her that way. I said, yeah, but you're not ready. You got to let Alan help you get ready for that. So this is really important. We have to be comfortable with our feelings. Okay, and it's hard for most people, right? These days, I cry every single day, like not constantly through the day, okay, but here, there, everywhere. Like I get moved, and I've never felt more alive, and I've never been healthier. Okay, and I'm going to be 70 this year. Okay, I am not going to leave this world a broken person, sickly and falling apart. And in part is because I'm going to be fully alive and have all of the life force pouring through me, and I'm taking care of myself. But that can happen to you too. If you have a loved one on the other side, their love, their unconditional love, that's the fountain of youth, guys. Unconditional love is the fountain of youth. When you love yourself unconditionally, you love others unconditionally, and your loved one on the other side loves you unconditionally, and you let them in to love you, you have it all. And very few people have those three things of loving themselves unconditionally, loving others truly unconditionally, okay? Truly, meaning that if they did something horrible to you, you still love them. You might not be in their life anymore because you're not going to be abused, but you still hold love. Truly, okay? Because I've had a lot of spiritual people say to me, oh yeah, I'm upset, but I still love you. And I tune in and I go, you're so full of it. You don't love me. You think you do. You're really pissed off, but you know that it's not cool to say, yeah, I'm upset at you. No, I do love you and I forgive you. We're talking about genuine love and forgiveness, okay? So that you can love that person, even if they're being really shitty to you, and you can let them go. Okay, you might still be hurt, okay, but you genuinely love them, and you're receiving love from at least one soul, either in a body or not in a body. Mostly it's going to be someone not in a body, because people in a body have a really hard time loving unconditionally. Really hard time. Most people, almost everybody. I would say 1% of the population is actually loving unconditionally. And you could be part of that 1% if your loved one from the other side loves you and you learn to love yourself truly unconditionally and love others. Loving unconditionally literally means you have no judgment about yourself or anyone, any soul. You don't judge them. You're in neutrality, and you love them. You see them as perfect, even with their flaws. Okay, that is essentially enlightenment. Really hard to do, right? I know that. Okay, so let me see. Next, we have Sherry. Let me get to your questions. Hi, Pam and Alan. Can you talk a little bit about vibrations? I started Reiki, and now I feel like my entire body's energized at times. I'm trying to figure out the difference between Reiki energy and my husband being around and giving me goosebumps and tingles. I feel like for you, they're all connected. So I wouldn't question it so much. I think and Alan's saying some of them, this is what they'll do. They'll ride in on that Reiki energy because it's a high frequency. And so when you're tuned to it, then it makes it easier for your husband to come through. Right. So just relax into it. And also what Alan's saying to me is, I know you're talking to him, right? I think you are. And if you're not, then you should, because he's going to tell you. So just trust what you hear. Like if you can ask him, hey, are you coming in on this Reiki energy? Is that you with the Reiki energy? And you'll immediately know. Like you'll either get a yes, or you might go, if you get kind of I don't know, that means like a no. So to me, it's either you get a strong yes, like, okay, I know that I can feel it. I know that's you. Or anything less than a strong yes is like a no. Like a question mark is a no. Hope that makes sense. But they're going to utilize whatever is lifting us up. So it could be music, right, that lifts up our spirits, or it could be the Reiki energy. It could be anything. It could even be a movie you watch. I mean, it could be anything. And what I'm hearing, I don't know if this is your husband. Alan's saying he's talking for your husband. He's saying, just enjoy all of it and know that it's going to change. The experience is going to change and always grow. So Anessa's saying her cousin in California saw her uncle. That was the cousin's father, the same night, but no message or facial expression. I don't know why spirits might show without a message or facial expression. It's that maybe they're just touching base. Sometimes I do know they can be afraid that they're going to scare us or upset us. So they may just like stand there. I remember reading about somebody on the other side who was doing that. It was the father of this child, and the father had, I think he committed suicide. And the child, his son was 4 at the time, and the child remembered sensing a presence in his closet, and he wasn't afraid. He always felt comforted, but he didn't know what that was, and later found out that it was the father just wanting to be there to, for his son, but he didn't want to freak him out, so he's just there. Now this child didn't see, they just felt the presence, but they'd get confirmed that that was the father. So it could be that, Chris is asking, at what point does someone have that choice when to pass, like Alan choose? Where they all have that choice. They all have that choice. That's why technically suicide could be defined as death. Like all death is suicide, meaning that it's chosen. Now, does that mean that sometimes people prematurely, literally, like, shoot the gun, like put the gun to their head? Yeah, of course. But we'd still say that was the choice of the human self. Like, okay, and then they get to the other side and say, oh God, what was I doing? Like, I shouldn't have done that, but they still chose it, obviously. Even if they were in a drunken stupor and they chose to get drunk, right? They chose to still pull the trigger. So technically, all death is suicide. All death is selected. Oh, I'm hearing sometimes it's just selected, well selected. Sometimes it's poorly selected. That's all it comes down to. That was a poor choice of an exit. Okay, and sometimes people delay. They try to push back. They don't want to leave. My mother did that. My mother was scared to leave. Unlike my father, who was ready to leave, he passed in a week. My mother hung on for about 5.5 weeks. They thought she had passed the first week she came home with hospice support. The nurse couldn't believe she was still alive like 5.5 weeks later. And I realized and in the end, I realized my mother was afraid. And I started telling her, it's okay. What I heard her say was, but you're not going to be with me. Like, I know about the other side. Like, she didn't believe the other side would be able to help her. She says, I know about the other side. I don't know who's waiting for me. I said, but your mother is there. Your mother, my grandmother, was a psychic medium, a psychic channel. But she was a little afraid of her mother because my grandmother was a little bit intimidating. She was a very powerful, strong psychic medium who immigrated from Japan as a picture bride. So you got to be tough to cross that ocean. And during those times in the early part of that 20th century. So my grandmother was kind of made of steel, but she was also very psychic. So my mother might have been like, well, I don't know if I can trust my mom on the other side, but I trust you, Pam, because I've always was there for her and she knew that I was tuned in. So finally I said, you're going to be fine. There's grandma right there and she's going to take care of you. She's not going to be hard on you. And my mom exited. So they can delay it. See, this is an example of how for all intents and purposes, my mother should have gone that first week. All of her vitals look that way, okay? But she didn't let go. at the same time, somebody could look like in tip-top shape, like they're turning the corner, they're going to be fine. And just like that, they're gone. And the doctors go, I don't know what happened. They're gone. They should have either survived or been around for another month or two or whatever, but they're gone. What does that tell you? This is not down to anything but the soul in the end.
So Pam, just to,
yeah,
Chris,
hi Chris.
I'm really
sorry, you raised your hand. I need to get to you. Go ahead.
Oh no, well, that was my question about the choice. And just to follow that, I'm really thinking of my sister-in-law who has dementia, and she's young and she's really gone at this point in her head.
Really
and
gone, yeah.
So, and I know that Alan had that health issue as well, but her body is still okay. And I didn't know if somehow there's that choice still when you're not functioning on Earth. Well, I don't know how else to put it.
Okay, so it comes back to why is she choosing this experience, right?
Yeah.
Whether, because we could be talking about any number of conditions. It could be ALS, for example.
True.
Right, where the person could have that very young and be suffering with that. Like, well, he's saying to me that is the same thing. Like somebody young or old, it doesn't matter. Like, why are they having this? So we really don't know, and I wouldn't pretend to guess.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept, well, this is what's happening. So for whatever reason, whatever purpose, this is what this soul is choosing. Okay, and you just have to accept it. But you don't really have a choice, right? Like, this is what she's choosing for herself. You're just wanting to know. I mean, obviously, whether a person has dementia or ALS or anything else, or even was healthy, they could leave this world in any number of ways. If they really wanted to leave this world, they could exit, right? Somebody could have a heart attack, have a stroke, anything. But for whatever reason, she's having this experience, and right now she's still here. That could change.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I know this inside. I just I'd love to from listening to you before.
Sometimes, I'm not saying this is the case, but sometimes they come in and they have a condition like that. They're here to teach those around them unconditional love.
Yeah.
And so how do you teach that without challenging people, right? To love them and understand that nothing, although yes, this is a tragedy, that to see like how can we make the best of this, and what can we learn from this? Maybe to appreciate your life more fully because you have all your faculties. We don't know. And I was saying to me, some of that is the case, that we can look at people with dementia and say, well, I'm blessed, even though I have all these problems that I think are driving me crazy. I don't have that. I'm not sick. I've got my faculties. I'm healthy. So yeah, he's showing me that there's many, many reasons why it's not just one thing, usually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. It is that lessons to those around, which I think is pretty important.
Well, it's like, if you can kind of look into it or feel into it and ask your guidance, like, what am I learning from this? If I'm part of her life, what is my lesson in this? Because that's the only thing you can control. And
Thank you.
if anything, am I to help? Don't assume that there's something for you. I know you probably are helping in whatever way you are, but you don't assume that, oh, I have to do this. It's like, what are you guided to support her with? If anything.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I hope that helps. Yes, Alan actually gets really sad whenever he is connecting with somebody who's dealing with dementia, because it's so fresh in his memory. And even though he didn't suffer with it for that long, it was the last 6 months were the worst of it. But even before that, he was losing, his memory. And I can't imagine something more frustrating than being aware that you're losing your memory and feeling it ebb slowly away from you. He said it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And he tried to like resist it or like just ignore it, but it kept happening. And then before he's showing me, it's like going across a stream, and you think like, oh, I can make it. But the stream is just a trickle, and then it gets faster and faster, and before you know it, you're just treading water in this fast-moving river, and you're almost drowning. And he goes, that's what it felt like I'm just trying to cross this river, and it's not too bad, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and pretty soon I'm afraid that I'm just going to drown completely. And at that point, I feel like, you know what, I want to just drown. Like, just let the river take me, because it's too hard. But that's what it's like. That's why it feels so scary. But even when they cannot communicate, they still completely understand everything. Everything. And probably can project their consciousness to understand what's going on around them. Okay, because now they're in between the worlds. And so he knew everything that was happening to him. He knew what I was saying. He couldn't express himself to me. And for some reason, I couldn't intuit what he was saying. I don't know. He said because I was really exhausted. So if you're emotionally, physically exhausted, you can't be psychic. I mean, come on. You just are not able, you're barely able to hold it together. And in order to be really in tune psychically, you have to be relaxed. And I was not relaxed. I was really he says I was running on fumes.
Yeah.
like just trying to keep my head, just trying to keep awake so that I could take care of him. Forget about trying to read him psychically. So it's hard. But I had Swati kind of reading him, saying that he says he could heal his body of the dementia, but he still have an old body, and he's tired of being old. And he wants to, and he anyway is supposed to help from the other side and have all of his powers. So he doesn't have his powers now. Even if he healed his dementia, he'd have an old body, he wouldn't have all his powers because he still has ego, and the ego was in the way. He knew that. So yeah, it's rough. So thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, I got to get on my questions. Oh, to be who we really are while here on Earth, as you described, what are the best actions to take? I can't give you a simple answer to that, Chris. Like what would the best, because it varied from person to person. But I would say what I'm being told, it can really start with forgiveness, practicing forgiveness of yourself and others on a daily basis. Okay, this is not something you do just because something big happens. It's daily, because it's the self-condemnation, self-criticalness of ourselves and others that really gets in the way. And there's so much to criticize about, right? So many things that we don't do right, or somebody else doesn't do right. And Alan's laughing because he knows that he was always critical of people and get easily upset because he had this kind of king mentality, like I'm the king and everybody should should treat me, take care of me, do their job. I go, what about compassion? What about like people are doing their best, Like why are you so hard on everybody? Nobody's trying to give you a bad day. They're not trying to ruin your dinner by serving you food that isn't quite perfect, that you have to go into a rage. So anyway, things like that. He's laughing, but he says, yeah, he was like that. He could be difficult. I was much more easygoing. So that, just letting go of judgment, that's not the same as discernment. Discernment meaning, okay, this is right for me, this is not so right for me, this person is in alignment with me. You can discern somebody is not really, let's just say, the best fit for you as a friend because they've got issues, without judging them. They're saying, yeah, that person is just really a jerk, or just saying, okay, we're not a match. I love you, I release you. I hope that helps. Kathy asked, can people who've passed away choose when and if they reincarnate? They always choose. They always choose. You never have to reincarnate. and you always choose when. None of this is ever imposed on you. It's all chosen. Jacqueline asked, after Joe passed, I kept hearing that he could help me more from the other side than he ever could do. Yeah, that's why he passed, to help you more from the other side. Then it definitely has more ability to help you from the other side. And he will, and I think he already has, Jacqueline, if I'm not correct. I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And he's going to do more, just beginning. Now, Gerald, hi, Gerald. I know you're new to our events and our groups, so welcome. Do souls on the other side grow faster than us, and will we ever catch up with them to continue our relationship? Do they grow faster? Hold on. I'm hearing, it's like, what do you mean by faster? Because you can catch up quickly. You're growing. Okay, if you're here and they're there, like I'm here and Alan's there, okay, you could say that in his case, just like maybe the case with your loved one on your side, that they're, of course, now they don't have their ego anymore, so they're at a higher level of consciousness, and they can still learn, grow, do whatever they continue to live. But this is not like a race where like they're going to get ahead of us. Like, what is that? Because Alan's laughing right now because he says to tell you guys, I'm really more evolved than he is. And that I was when he was here in a body. And he says she still is, even though I'm on the other side and I have all of my powers. He says, we're in the process of helping me tap into all of my powers. Just like you, Gerald, can still grow, and your loved one can still help you access your own powers and abilities. So don't think they're on this fast track of growth that now you're left out of. No, and yeah, you can catch up really quickly. So you'll always be on the same wavelength, but as souls, yeah, you might be at different levels. So who cares? You don't have to be at the equal level. It's not about that. It's not about ability or anything. You definitely continue a relationship when you cross over. So yeah, don't ever worry about that. Jacqueline's saying, yes, my friend does not believe. I sit on the other side, right? And Joe talked to her and freaked her out as she knew it was him. Yeah, that happens a lot of times. It happens with Alan. He'll show up to somebody and they'll like, what was that? Christy, hi, Pam and Alan. I haven't been sleeping well at night for a while. I wake up every morning between 3 and 4. I'm exhausted every day. I feel like I'm somehow working at night, but how can I find out what I'm doing? I feel like I dream a lot, but I can't remember anything. Well, that's happening to a lot of us. And I was talking about that in my private membership group that is currently closed to new members, but we were talking about it yesterday. That I asked my team about it because I've been really tired myself. And they said that all of us, not just me, but all of us who are light workers, pretty much all of you here are light workers. If you're not, you would know that you're not. Okay. If you even think you are a light worker, meaning that you're here to awaken spiritually. We're all being worked a lot on the other side. We're all helping on the other side on that soul level. So many of us are tired. I've become more tired than usual, but part of it was I found out was because I've been practicing loving heart connections, not just personally on my own, like doing my own session work on myself, but also with people, with clients, that I'm so in that zone of the other side that when I'm helping at night, I was saying I'm doing more than I ever have been doing before. And so when I wake up, it's like sometimes I'm still tired. And I had brain fog was kind of bad about 5 days ago. And I thought something was wrong with me because I'm trying to edit our book that I'm supposed to be working on, the kind of second draft, let's say. We're doing some revision. I couldn't even understand the sentence that I wrote. Reading the sentence over and over, they go, I can't even understand what I wrote myself, let alone edit it. And I heard them, they say, your brain's being rewired and upgraded because that's necessary for you to have this relationship through the veil. The brain is physically hardwired to just believe in this reality. And so part of what is done when we practice, let's say, psychic development, is we're actually attempting to change the brain. Okay, because the brain is a part of us that's going to say, you can't see somebody that's not in the body. Like, even if you start seeing them, it'll just shut it down. I was told that by another psychic medium. She's really good. She goes, you're seeing Alan, but your brain keeps shutting it down. And I said, yeah, I feel like that. I feel like I'm on the cusp of it, and then it just cuts off. And she goes, yeah, your brain has to change. So she was trying to teach me different exercises to do. But when I learned Loving Heart Connections, Alan said, this is the vehicle, this is the way for you to break through that, because you're going to spend more time between the two worlds. And that is, so it's going to happen naturally and organically without your any effort. You just being in that zone is going to accelerate the changes in your brain that are necessary, as well as facilitate healing, self-healing that I need. And that's been what's happening. So the brain fog, he said, that's going to clear, but that's just an indication that you're going through these deep changes. So really, to me, the way I see it, and I'm sorry if for some people in my academy especially, I sound like a walking commercial for Loving Heart Connection, but every day something new happens to me. I never thought that I would look forward to doing these sessions for 30 minutes every day. I would never even meditate for 10 minutes every day. Too hard for me. This, I can't wait to see what's going to happen tomorrow. What new thing is going to happen? What's going to change? You know, what am I going to see more of or experience? And I've been feeling Alan more profoundly, more deeply. I've become more emotional. I can feel myself growing and expanding as just from spending time through this Loving Heart Connections sessions that I'm doing, with him helping me, with the other side helping me. It's not just Alan, it's also the archangels, because I saw them and they said, we're working, they're healing me. There's conditions that are healing right now as we speak. So to me, that is the way to break down the veil, to reach through the veil and grow spiritually. You know, clear your resentments, heal yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all of that. But yeah, so that's why all of us are kind of tired. So you'll get through it. Or Alan's saying, or come have a session, have a Loving Heart Connection session. Let's get you hooked up with your team so that you can be in that zone and get the healing you need so that you can sleep. My sleep is getting better, but it's because the brain is being worked on. It can be really exhausting physically. Yeah, so Gail's saying, yeah, that I said that a lot of like we're spreading the light to the world while we sleep. We're all doing that. They're all working. And there's a lot of work happening, obviously. Think of all the people that are dying in Ukraine, right? Those people need help crossing to the other side. A lot of you are doing that. You're actually going in your dream time, helping those souls who suddenly find themselves on the other side and they're confused. They need help to cross over. It's one thing if you know it's coming, you know you're sick, or if somebody has sudden death, they can be really confused. So they need help. They will get help eventually, but souls like us working on their side, we're trying to help them like right now, we're trying to eliminate their suffering. So Marie says, thought, some emotions create low vibrations, which are considered taboo for communication. You mean some emotions are low vibrations? If you mean like anger, what I feel, or what I'm being told now, grief is really the emotion that blocks the other side. They understand that we might be angry, but anger is a higher vibration than grief or depression. I want you to think about it, because if you're angry, that somebody who's angry takes action a lot of times. Their anger, I mean, they may act inappropriately, they may act aggressively, but they act out. They may start a revolution, a revolution that affects positive change. But somebody who's angry isn't depressed. somebody who's depressed doesn't take action. So anger on the emotional scale that you can actually measure it is a higher vibration than grief. Grief, let's just say grief is depression. That's really low. So you have to, anger, I'm hearing they can still get through on because we're still alive and kicking in a sense. When we're really depressed, we are really close, some people are really close to suicide. So that's hard for them. That is too really low, really hard for them to get through. Deb asks, Bolts asks, how do I determine if it is a spirit or ego deciding what I need to do today? That could be hard to discern, like, what's that coming? I can't really tell you straight off. If it's something you're being told to do that feels uplifting to you, like when you think about what's being suggested, you feel like a rise of your energy, that I would say generally is your higher self or your guide or a spirit, benevolent spirit. If it feels kind of flat, or you kind of feel like a bit of a slight sinking energy, that's probably more your ego. Now, Jacqueline asked, in the last 2 weeks since I started using Reiki, I've had a lot more headaches. Do you and Alan feel that is related? I am hearing yes, because you're being stretched whenever you, but hopefully the healing we did today would have helped you integrate that. Okay, I'm hearing I need more integration. There's a lot of integration going on. So it's, okay, wait a minute, it's all coming in really fast. Okay, so remember, Reiki 1 is a physical attunement, and a lot of times people can have physical detox. Okay, I don't ever tell my students like, oh, you could, something, all these negative things are going to happen. But I do tell them it's possible you're going to feel some discomfort, and that can be you're adjusting to the energy. So yeah, some people will have different physical things happening. So she says, also, it's funny that you said that your nose is running. I've had a lot of that lately, and a lot last night when I was sitting outside under the full moon. I did Reiki on myself and was also being thankful for change of season and asking to release what I did not need from a higher good, and my nose started running a lot. Yeah, so, okay, there's a lot going on with you. I would say just take it easy, take a breath. You're integrating it. Probably if it feels like it's too much, this is true for anything spiritually. If you ever feel overwhelmed, it's time to put in some earth time. Like, stop doing the healing, stop doing the meditation, stop trying to reach out to the other side. Just be here on the earth. Do something like work in the garden or cook a meal or just watch some Netflix. I mean, anything that's more earth based, okay? Nothing that takes you out like there, or just put it aside. Just do something that's physical. Go for a walk or a run or whatever it is. Go in the ocean. Amazing grounding. As soon as you go in the water, you're grounded to the earth. Or walking on the earth, like grass, or better yet, dirt. Like, animals will often put themselves on the dirt, on the earth, to heal. Our cat did that. He got really sick, and I wasn't worried about him. I somehow knew he'd be okay. He just went and lied under the bushes outside our house and laid on the dirt, like, for days. I didn't eat, didn't drink. Ellen said, but he's going to die. And I said, I think I'm just going to leave him. And I sent him Reiki. And after 2 days of lying on the dirt under a bush, he got up, came in the house, started eating, and he put on a lot of weight, and he started to meow more than ever, and he was perfectly healthy. And I got my guide said, well, he knew how to heal himself, and you gave him Reiki, and you knew what he needed support was just Reiki. He didn't have water, he didn't have food for 2 days. And I knew he was sick, but he healed himself. You can heal yourself too. Get yourself on the earth. How do we know if our loved ones want to connect with us? I would say always assume that they do want to connect with you. Okay, now whether they can is another story, because most souls on the other side need help to come through the veil. I didn't know that. When Alan came back to me, he said, My job, Pam, is going to be to help souls on the other side to come through to their loved ones here. And I said, is that really something you can do? Is that really even necessary? Like, what? He goes, it is necessary. They need help coming through. He didn't have any trouble coming through, but then he was spiritually more developed than the average person. I think I'm not even, it's not even egotistical to say that. I mean, it's just true, because he had abilities clearly. And he says, so did I. So, but most souls don't have that. Even though everyone's psychic, most souls they're not evolved like that, okay? They're on their journey wherever they're at. So he says they need help. And I didn't believe him. I said, yeah, right, okay, fine. And he made me read a book, several books. One book was by a psychic medium. And in the book, she even said, oh yes, there's souls in heaven who help the souls there to come through the other side, because most of them, maybe all of them, need help. It's not something that comes naturally. Like they need to practice or need support. So when I read that, of course, Alan was yelling up and Joe laughing up and going, see, I told you, see, you don't believe me. Now you believe me? Yes, I believe you. You got me the book. The person actually said that. Okay, fine. So yeah, they all want to connect. He's telling me all of them want to connect. Can they do that? And are we able to receive them? Are we able to, do we believe? Are we accepting of it? Are we ready? Are we okay with being emotional? Because I know that some people, as much as they want to connect with their loved one, when they have a dream of them that's very vivid and real, like a lucid dream where you had a visitation, they of course, they're ecstatic about it. At the same time, after the dream, they fall apart emotionally. I know that happens a lot, where people then they start crying because they go, but you're not here. I saw you, I felt your hug, but you're not here. And they're almost like worse off. And so the other side, they know that, and they don't want that to happen. So they could back off because they go, well, she's not ready or he's not ready. I don't want to devastate her. So this is a complicated journey where we have to process our grief. We have to accept that they're no longer in a body and understand this. Your body has a consciousness of its own. Your body misses their body. So even though your mind, your soul might know, okay, I know they're here. I know I can feel their love in other ways. The body is the last part of us that kind of gets on board with this experience, because the body says, but I want them to hold me. I want to hold their hand. I want them to kiss me. That is not going to happen. You will have contact. Yes. Not exactly physical. Okay. It's going to be very different, but you will feel a presence. You will feel contact. And that will deepen. Alan's shown me that, because I have felt him energetically early on, and it's gotten stronger and stronger. And my acceptance of this keeps getting stronger. And my body's, let's say, need for the physical contact has gotten less and less. But what you're aiming for is to create new memories in the now upon which to build this new relationship. But all you have in the beginning is just your memories of the past with your loved one, right? That's all we have, is what we had with them when they were in a body. It takes time to create these new memories of them in the now. And I firmly believe that you cannot really do this well on your own. You need to be part of a community with like a community like this, where you can talk about it, where other people understand and believe and know that this is true. They're sharing the same journey with you, because we're not living on this world alone, like in a cave. You're here to co-create your reality. That means with other people who see the world as you see it, others of like mind. I believe this is the critical piece, because I don't think I would have been able to navigate this if it wasn't for my own Facebook community and the few friends I have, and only a couple, who could really give me feedback. But I had a place where I could share my story, where other people are interested or having their own story. This is really, really important. If I was by myself, I think I'd still be back at square one or maybe square two, but I wouldn't be this far along. So I would say anyone's interested in this journey, you need to see what community is out there that you resonate with and get involved there and participate and share your story and listen to other people's stories and know that you can do this. Okay, you need to surround yourself with other people who are doing the same thing in their own way, because everybody's journey a little differently, but who believe as you believe that you can continue your relationship through the veil. Because not all mediums believe in this. As some of you have found out, when you've gone to mediums, even though you've made contact with them, and one medium told you you did, and another medium told you, oh no, they want you to move on. You know, like, well, who's right? The one who told you to move on is the one, that's their belief system. Okay, so that's why I'm more of a fan of direct after-death communication. Maria says, I have the brain fog too. She tried walking through the pit gate in her room this morning without opening it. Yeah, because she thinks that she's still on the other side, so she can walk through a wall, walk through a pit gate. Yes, this is what happens. Okay. Ken says, what new openings and opportunities can we expect that we are not really talked about as we move through this elevating equinox period and beyond? What new openings? Oh God, they're just showing me so many. I don't know how to describe that. They're saying to me, they're different openings for different people. You have to be ready for it. But there's all kinds of openings, all kinds of opportunities. They're showing me all kinds of doorways or portals and openings all over, because the other side is working hard to break through the veil. Okay, understand, know that this is not a one-way effort where we're just trying to reach them and break down the veil. No, they've been doing that. I was told that the other side was the ones that created loving heart connections, for example. They also gave the same concept to Alan Botkin with induced after-death communication. He went a different way with it than Jane did. Jane's taking it more in a way that it's going to reach out to the whole world, because she's opening up to teaching lay people like myself. You don't have to be a professional like a psychologist or doctor or nurse or somebody to learn for this modality. Whereas with IADC, they only teach licensed professionals for a very good reason, because that modality takes people into their grief or as part of the process. So whenever you do that, the person needs to be licensed and knows how to work with somebody who is essentially being re-traumatized. But Jane discovered that that wasn't necessary to re-traumatize people. In fact, I don't see the point of that. In fact, when I read IADC before I knew about loving heart connections, I thought, wait a minute, that just feels really screwy. What, you have to re-traumatize people? I don't get it. I did understand that. And then it made sense to me when I discovered LHC, and she explained that, yeah, she discovered that trauma was not necessary. And this is, she was sneezing this morning. So now, as I get a lot of ascension symptoms, and when energies are high, they seem to have a different flavor with each unique set of energies. Last week was eyes burning, sleepiness, headache. The last couple of days, it's been intense nausea. And my body now just wants me to juice for the next couple of days. Can you explain what these symptoms mean or how to understand them and why they're, I can't really explain it, because it's going to be a never-ending tide of different things. Like, I don't know why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, and they're telling me they can't explain it to me. It's like, okay, I'm hearing it's a moving target. It's an ever-changing thing. It's like life. It's like somebody saying, well, tell me it's going to happen for the rest of the year. Like, it's just a fast-moving river, and a lot of things are changing. And anyway, Zarnaz, you're having a session with us, and I believe that when you have your Loving Heart Connection session, that's going to give you a lot of clarity about a lot of things. Okay. Our energies predicted to slack off in April. somebody asked that. I hear no. Like, no, doesn't look like it. No, they're expected to. Okay, hold on. At best, the energies that are hitting all of us, are hitting the planet, will just kind of like, I guess, hold steady, right? Not necessarily increase, but hold steady, like be at equilibrium. But if anything, it's just going to keep spiraling up the intensity. This is part of the ascension, part of the awakening of the planet. Is just what happens. Okay, so we're closing in on the 2-hour mark. I don't want to go beyond 2 hours. So I hope we answered all your questions. I'm going to have now, I don't know, Ginger, I see you messaged me privately. I can't really answer your question. That's what I'm being told. I can't really answer your question. So, okay, so I would like, if Claire's still here and or Maria, I just want to drop in the chat our Facebook group, a link to our Facebook group for some of you who may not be in our group yet, that you're welcome to join it. Okay, and if not, that's fine. But I will share so there it is. They both posted it. Thanks, ladies. They both posted the link to the Facebook group. And if you're wanting to book a session with Alan and myself, because we do work together, we are primarily focusing on loving heart connection sessions. So they'll drop that link to our website in there too. But we also do coaching, spiritual coaching. And either way, if you want to work with us, just go to our website and you can book through the website. If you have questions about it, just reach out to me either through the website or through our group. Join our group and you can interact with us there too. And if you, okay, I'm being told to remind people, some of you are new to the group, or maybe you're going to join the group. So in the group, everything that Alan pretty much ever told me is in that group. If you scroll down, which would take you forever, you'd see all the posts. There's so much information there. That is the trail of breadcrumbs. What was happening to me day in and day out, because he had me posting in the group, usually like 2 or 3 times a day, of what messages he had, what was happening, what was confusing me, then how I figured it out, and on and on and on. So there's a lot in there, and he wanted it in there so that when the book came out, people who would like doubt about the book, I'd say, go look in the group. All of the raw data is all in there, pretty much of everything. He said he wanted me to share it, like the ups and downs and backwards and forwards. It's all there. So yeah, join our group, or if you're in it and you haven't really taken a look back, go look back. There's so much in there. Get on our YouTube channel. I'm not putting the link in there for that, but you have a YouTube channel. All of our like this video will be in our YouTube channel. Most of the lives that we've ever done are on our Facebook. I mean, our YouTube channel. So you can check that out. Okay, so thanks. So I'm so glad you made it, and I'm glad you're here for the healing session. Yeah, and anybody missed the healing session, then catch the replay and get the healing again, get the attunement again. Right? I love to hear what you experienced after the healing. So if you're in our group, please let me know. I will post something in there that you could perhaps comment on. Okay, so thanks for joining us. Oh, we're exactly at the 2-hour mark. Okay, if you guys want to unmute, say goodbye, you feel free to unmute. I'd like to always hear your voices. You want to say goodbye. Let's see everybody. Hi. Okay, I see. We still have a lot of you here. So unmute and say hi, goodbye, or whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
You're welcome. Love
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Enjoyed today.
Thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim.
Bye.
Jen.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Pam. Thank you.
Bye, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Pam.
Bye, everybody. I can't get to everybody. You're all like leaving. Kathy and Anne and Darnell's and okay, Nancy, Dana. Okay, bye.